Hey, Jumoke, hi. Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. So, what's your view on the criticism that the president list favors political allies over career diplomats? Do you think political appointments should prioritize loyalty over competence? And how might this impact Nigeria's diplomatic relations if ambassadors are perceived as political rewards?
I think one thing is clear. The president is his prerogative. It's absolutely at his pleasure to appoint whoever he likes as an ambassador. But there's also a moral burden and a leadership burden on his shoulders to ensure that he appoints the people that is best fitted for the job. The current appointment has a mix, is totally a mixed bag. There are people that public perception has it that they shouldn't have been in that list. And of course, we also dealing with the fact that it's been a very long time coming. And at the end of the day, we do have the ambassadorial list that will have to go to the National Assembly. So while we try to postulate and analyze the appointment, we should also be looking at what next? And what next is the National Assembly. Are they going to rubber stamp what the president has already transmitted to them? Are they going to go through the due process and ensure that they scrutinize the appointee, the nominees, before they are formally appointed? What is it for the country having this set of individuals? There are obviously some of them that can be described as a person of political interest. Many of them do have ongoing investigation that haven't been concluded, and some of them have made very, very interesting comments. For instance, Reno had said publicly, and it's there for everybody to see, that he will never work for the president, and several others, Mahmoud do have his own.
Dr. Jacob, are you there? Another concern is that the list lacks equitable regional ethnic representation, which Ms. Ademola Oshodi had, spoken to earlier. But for you, do you see this as a valid concern? Should such positions reflect Nigeria's diversity, or should merit be the main criterion?
If you can hear me, I'm back.
Yes, I can hear you. I was saying another concern, Dr. Epelle, is that the list lacks equitable regional or ethnic representation. And I said Ms. Ademola Oshodi had addressed that earlier. But from your own standpoint, do you see this as a valid concern? Should such positions reflect Nigeria's diversity, or should merit be seen be the main criterion?
Jumoke, I respect your audacity to even ask this kind of question on your channel, and that's very encouraging. It shows how unbiased you are. Well, the issue of merit. I'm so sorry. Somebody's trying to come into the house. Yeah. The issue of merit, or federal character is something that is worthy of note. But if I'm the president, he will say that, well, I haven't finished the appointment. So you can't say that it doesn't have the color of federal character. But currently, what has been dished out doesn't seem to have the federal character color.
Yeah, it might sound hasty, Dr. Epelle, because we've heard stories from people who are from Kogi State who already said, oh, Mr. President is not thinking about us. And I also ask because, some appointees reportedly have little diplomatic experience. Do you think experience should be mandatory for such roles? Could political appointees gain diplomatic skills on the job, or is prior experience crucial? How do you reconcile the need for competence with the political realities of some appointments?
You can never jettison competence over charisma or political experience. You can have all the political experience in the world and lack diplomatic skills. Diplomacy is much more tactful and strategic when it comes to what happens in the international scene. The diplomat is a representation of the country that appointed him or her. And so it's not something that we play with as a political chess game, you know. So there are some politicians that have some notable experience. Many of them are also smart to have the right people as advisors. Several of them, once they are appointed, they work with the people in the embassy. Many of them have skills in several areas and they can guide them, you know. But you cannot, there's no way you can take competence over just mere charismatic political leader. You know, so that experience counts. But smart politicians who are appointed into this position will go and work with career diplomats within the embassy who has been there for years. Um, they will work with them and they'll be able to weather through the storm. But if you're not that smart, you would outdo yourself if you want to depend on just what you can do at the expense of career diplomats who are already in the embassy. You will pay dearly for it.
Okay, two things, Dr. Epelle. First, that nomination process was not made public. And I've heard some stakeholders demanding to know why the shortlist was not published in advance for public scrutiny before submission to the Senate. And why the presidency must consider publishing a full disclosure report for each nominee. Also because, Mr. Ademola Oshodi says more names are coming. How important is it for the presidency to publish selection guidelines for future nominations, so we don't begin to have these kinds of conversations going forward?
I think we need to be fair, and that's the kind of analysis I do. I try to have a balanced analysis. There's no constitutional provision or even moral compass that puts the burden on the president to publish the people that he's going to be appointed. I mean, in the interest of transparency, he can decide to do that, but there's no constitutional provision that puts the moral burden on him or the legal burden on him to go ahead and make the list public. As a matter of fact, there's very, very, I can't remember the president that have done that, whether in the Western society or in what they call the third world country. It's not really given to the president to make that kind of appointment publicly. If I'm in his shoes, will I do it? Yes, I will, because these are leaders that are going to serve the public. So the public needs to know, and the public needs to be able to, But again, it's important not to put the horse before the cart, because the person, the government arm that will do what you're saying is the National Assembly. And so if they rubber stamp what the president have done, that's a total disservice to democracy. It's a disservice to the
So
nation.
what exactly do you mean by rubber stamp?
Well, approve everybody without scrutinizing them,
So if due diligence
yes
is done, Dr. Epelle, what's wrong in approving everybody?
That's what I'm saying. Will due diligence be done? It's now the onus is on the National Assembly, precisely the Senate, because they do have experts that will go into the archive and research these individuals from their CV, academic CV, to public service, to crime, there's a process that is very well structured that they go through before they sign off that this person can even come before the floor of the Senate. So hopefully they will do that and drop those with baggages. I mean, you're looking at a situation where some of the people that are on that list do have EFCC ongoing investigation. So what would you say to that? Some of them, they claim that they have been cleared. Others have not been cleared, were not taken to court. But of course, there is out there in the public space that for one reason or the other, they have a case to answer, especially how they manage the funds of their state. So um, so there's a need for a thorough investigation by the Senate of this nomination before they pass, that they have scaled through the screening process.
All right, you've always advocated for inclusion, inclusivity, and for the first time, 10 women have been included in Nigeria's ambassadorial list. I'm wondering, what does this milestone signify for Nigerian diplomacy?
Jumoke, I'm happy for the women folk, and I say bravo to the president. But I'm sad for persons with disability because we expect that at least one. And I can tell you for free, there is someone who is already in the diplomatic circle doing very extremely well, Dr. Chris Wanaro, who is in Sao Tome. I had expected that the president will elevate him from the charge affairs that he is to the status of an ambassador. Let's hope that they will do the right thing. So, as I look through the lens of your camera, and Mr. President, if you're watching, please do us a favor. We did ask you to appoint a person with disability in your cabinet. You did not. What you did was to appoint a special assistant. And I can tell you for free that that special assistant, I don't know how many times he has seen you, but this is the time for you to rewrite the history. This is the time for you to do the right thing. Appoint a person with disability as an ambassador. We have very eminent, very well qualified individuals that will fit into that position. So this is the right time to take the bull by the horn and do the needful. So, Mr. President, sir, appoint a person with disability as an ambassador.
And I'm sure Mr. President is listening to you and may listen to you. But I mean, overall, how would you assess Nigeria's current global image? And just like I was saying to Mr. Demola Oshodi, what role do ambassadors play in shaping this perception? And what are the biggest misconceptions about Nigeria internationally that ambassadors should actively address?
Well, I don't have a diplomatic JD job description, but I can tell you simple things that any ambassador would do. Number one, you represent the political interest of your country. That means you project the political status of your country. Number two, you represent the economic interest of your country. That means you ensure that the economic ties between the two states are enhanced. You drive investment, direct investment. You drive imports and exports where necessary. You are pushing for agriculture. You're also pushing for cultural promotion, whether it's tourism or promotion of culture and all that. You are also pushing for social development. So you're pushing for the most vulnerable to get one form of assistance or the other, And then, of course, you are the image launderer of the country. So you go there out there to ensure that Nigeria maintains a towering image without hurting the country. You conduct yourself in the most honorable manner, and ensure that you are not in any way compromised, because certain ambassadors, even the country that is hosting them, do try to compromise them once in a while. They can put a device in your shoes as an ambassador. The shoes you've gone to buy, they can put a device on it, and everything you're saying and you're doing, they're hearing it. They can send all kinds of people, including women, to go after you to get information. So espionage is something that they need to be very, very careful about, so that they don't fall victim and become a compromised individuals, which will hurt the country that they represent. So these are some of the things that any smart, purpose-driven ambassador would do to ensure that the country does not in any way lose diplomatic respect. So I hopefully these individuals, some of them will receive some instruction, and many of them will be trained and prepared for the job, so
All
that
right.
they don't go there and become a casualty.
And one major takeaway from that list is that it is from across the divide. You have people from the PDP, from other political parties. You also have some of the president's biggest critics. And, supporters of the president see this as a genuine effort to promote national unity. I wonder what your take is about that. But how might choosing nominees from across the divide impact Nigeria's diplomatic objectives? From what what long-term effects could these cross-divide appointments have on governance, diplomacy, and political culture in Nigeria?
Yeah, I do agree with you that there are some people that is one foot in NPC and one foot in PDP that made this list. I do agree with you on the diversity of the current appointment. Don't forget, I don't believe that that's the end of the appointment. There are more people to be appointed. We have 35 at the moment. More people will be appointed. And so we are likely to see diversity, equity, and inclusion, a framework of DEI, which I think the president would like to pursue. So at the end of the day, we will see more representation
All right.
in terms of states and certain group of people.
All right, there. CEO TAF Africa, policy analyst Dr. Epelle. Thank you so much for your time. Please have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jumoke. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. That's our package tonight, and that marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before